Hi everyone, happy to have you here with me once again. Welcome back. Today, as you can see in the title, we're having the second update for my favorite project ever, the Pando's Eyeshadows project. This project was created by Alexi, so as always I'm going to be leaving her channel down in the description box. And the whole idea of this project is to work in your eyeshadow palette collection and trying to hit pan on some eyeshadows. Everyone does this project a little bit different, but in my case, I'm working in 6 eyeshadows at a time, 4 of them randomized from my whole collection, 1 of them from a focus palette, and the last one comes from my older 10 palettes and my singles. And I'm excited about today's update because we're going to be having 2 rollouts. One of them, I'm cheating a little bit to be honest, but I think you're going to understand why, and it's nothing too bad, so hopefully you won't mind. But yeah, I don't want to make this introduction any longer, so let's start with the update. Okay, first I forgot to mention that obviously my goal is to hit pan on the eyeshadows, but if after 25 uses I still feel like I'm a long way to hit pan on the eyeshadow, I'm able to roll it out. And also last month I created a new rule that if I roll in a newer palette, I'm able to decide if I want to hit pan on it or only work on it for 10 uses and then roll it out. So yeah, with that out of the way, we can start talking about the eyeshadows that I've been working on for the last 2 months now. And let me tell you that I don't know if it's because at the beginning of February I had the virus, so I wasn't using makeup, or it's also because February is a shorter month, but my numbers are really bad this month, like really bad. So I'm glad we have rollouts because otherwise this update will be a complete disaster. But let's start talking about the first eyeshadow that I have in this project. The first eyeshadow comes from my beauty creation Alicia palette. This palette was chosen out of my older palettes and I'm working in a Celeste. Let me know how you call this kind of color because in Spanish we call it celeste, but I don't know if I should call it a turquoise, if I should call it a light blue, but well, the shade I'm talking about is this one over here. You can see some usage on it, but I can attribute that to me this year because so far I have only used it twice this year. Once this month and once in January. So yeah, I suck using this shade to be honest. Any shade of blue for me, it's really hard to use, but also I don't know why I haven't been inspired with that color. The color that I'm talking about is this one over here. This palette doesn't have names, but yeah, you can see that you can get a pretty nice color if you layer this shade, but only with one coat. It's really like soft and subtle. It almost look like a bluish mint. I don't know. As I said, I only used it once in the last month, and the time that I use it as an inner corner highlighter, like inner corner pop, I should say. I'll leave the picture over here. But I really need to focus in that shade because so far I have only used it twice, and I still need 23 more uses to go or hit pan on it. Comparing that shade with other shades in this palette that I have hit pan on, for example this one over here, I don't think it's going to take us too long to be able to hit pan on. I think this shade, this pink over here, took me around 10 uses to be able to hit pan on. Mattes for me are way easier than shimmers, but maybe after 15 uses we're going to have a pan on it. Who knows? But yeah, I really need to focus on it. If you have any ideas of how I could use this shade, please let me know. Someone in their introduction suggested to use it in my lower lashes. I haven't done that yet, but I definitely would in March because I need to focus on that shade. The next shade we're going to be talking about is my shade Leo from my Zodiac palette. You can see it over here. And as I said, really bad numbers because that shade I only used it twice in the last month. Is this pinky baked shadow over here? And I think you can see that we have some wear on it, not like a dip or anything. And I'm not expecting that because this is a baked eyeshadows, and those for me are really slow going. Well, I will say it's slow for everyone, but to be honest, I don't know. But I can see some progress on it, and I'm happy about it. But yeah, this is not a shade that I'm expecting to be able to hit pan on, not in 25 uses at least, but I would like to be able to roll this shade out in the next month or two, because yeah, I would like, I don't know, the fun of this project is to be selecting new products, changing your color story, and I wouldn't like to be working in the same shade for more than 3 or 4 months. So still need 20 more uses to go. I don't think I'm going to be able to use that shade 20 times in a month. That will be unrealistic of me. But hopefully in May, we're going to be able to roll this palette out. Hopefully. Who knows what's going to happen, but at least I'm going to try. I like how these two shades look together, but if you have any ideas of how to use these two together, I will appreciate you if you let me know, because yeah, now that I've swatched them together, they look really pretty. I really like them. Okay, moving on, we have my new nail. Let me check how you pronounce that, because every time I have pronounced that wrong. Noi. I was saying it completely wrong for the last 2 months. Noi? Something like that? I'm so sorry. I don't speak French, but yeah, it's this shade over here. And now I discovered that Noi, or however you pronounce that, I'm sorry, it means new. I had no idea, but that shade comes out of my Fantastic palette. As you can see, I like make a, how do you say it, a fashion emergency to this palette, because I really didn't like the cover, and since I've been going crazy buying stickers, I decided to change it and basically put all of my stickers in this palette. But yeah, the shade that I'm talking about is this one over here, and I think you can see that we have a pan, and I'm so excited about that. But I only needed to use it 2 more times to be able to hit pan on it. If you saw my last update, I said that I felt like I was super close to the pan, and I really was, because I only needed 2 more uses, and ta-da, we have a pan. So yeah, I'm really excited about rolling this shade out. This is a palette that I like more now than when I roll it in. I feel like after working in this palette for the last 2 months, I had the chance to play around a little bit more with the palette, and I like it even more than at the beginning of the year. But yeah, I'm excited to roll this palette out, and hopefully the next palette that we roll in is not such a huge palette, because so far the 3 palettes that I have shown you are quite big. Okay, moving on, we can talk about my Tootsie Roll. This shade comes from my The Sweetest palette, my Focus palette, and this is another palette that I really need to focus on, because as I said, this is my Focus palette. I would like to have pan in every shade before the end of the year, and so far we don't have any pans on it. So I really need to focus on it. But yeah, the shade Tootsie Roll is this one over here. In the last month, I have only used it twice, I think. Let me check. Yeah, I used it twice for a total of 8 uses. And you can see a little bit of a dip. It's not a huge thing, but you can definitely see it. And this is a shade that I would like to be able to hit pan on before next update. If I want to be able to hit pan on all of the shades, the 16 shades in this palette, I really need to start to make progress, and the easier way for me to do that is to roll shades into this project. So I still need how many, 17 more uses in this palette, but I'm pretty sure we're going to be able to hit pan on that shade before the 25 uses, because when I look at it, I can see that it's not really deep. Okay, next we have Act Natural, this shade over here from my Just My Luck palette. And let me tell you, when I rolled this shade in, I was so intimidated, because greens and blues are the harder colors for me to wear. but I found a way to use it that I really enjoy, and that is as an eyeliner. And since I'm working with a really small brush, like an eyebrow brush, you can see a little bit of a dip. Yeah, I think you can see it, and you're going to be seeing the close-ups over here. But yeah, in the last month, I used it 3 times for a total of 8 uses. And this is another shade that I don't think we're going to be able to hit pan on 25 uses, but we're going to have a really good dip on it after the 25 uses. This is going to take me at least 2 more months to be able to get to the 25 uses. But now that I'm going to be focusing in this shade, these two are going to be really easy to use together. So I'm expecting to have at least 8 more uses before next update in these two shades, at least. But yeah, let's talk about the last shade that I've been working on in the last 2 months, and the shade where I'm cheating a little bit. The last shade is this ultraviolet shade from my Huda Beauty Mercury Retrograde. And this palette is one of the newer palettes in my collection. I think I received it back in October of last year. And as I said in the introduction, if I roll in a shade from a newer palette, I can decide if I want to hit pan on it, use it 25 times, or to only use it 10 times. And in my case with this shade, I decided to only use it 10 times. And the reason why I'm saying that I'm cheating a little bit, it's because I have only used it 9 times. But I cannot wait to have a new color story, and I promised you that I'm going to use this shade tomorrow. So before this video goes up, we're going to have the 10 uses, and the picture of the close-up that you're going to be seeing are going to be with 10 uses. And I'm really happy with this shade because you can definitely see the wear on this palette, in this shade at least. And having this palette in the project has allowed me to play around a little bit more with the palette. To be honest, when I just purchased this palette, I wasn't really loving it. Loving it. I wasn't really loving this palette. But now I like it more. It's not one of my favorite palettes, and I thought that maybe this was going to be one of my new favorites, but it's not. But at least now I like this palette. This shade, to be honest, ultraviolet, I was expecting more out of this shade. I don't know, I feel like it's a little bit flat in this palette. I was expecting something else. It's a nice shade. I have enjoyed using it, but most of the times that I use it, I top it with Dream Lover, the Super Chalk Shadow from Colourpop. And when I top it with that, I got the dimension that I was looking out of this shade by itself. But yeah, those are all the shades that I've been working on in the last 2 months, and I cannot wait to roll in 2 new shades. But before doing that, I want to talk to you about my numbers because they have changed in the last month because I purchased some palettes and I'm expecting to receive even more. So far, I have added, I think, 5 or 4 palettes. I have added 4 palettes into my collection in the last month, and a total of 52 shades. Yeah, way too much. That means that my total number of eyeshadows in my collection is 742, and out of those eyeshadows, I have 15 eyeshadow pans. I really hope that number goes even higher before the end of the year, but that means that my pen percentage is 2.02%. My eligible eyeshadows are 729, so we're going to be randomizing 2 numbers from 1 to 729. Okay, let's randomize the numbers. Let's see the first one, 652. That's going to be a pretty new eyeshadow palette because for most part I have them from from older to newer. So 652, and the second number, it's going to be hopefully an older palette, 171. Okay, that's going to be an older palette. Let's check together what those numbers mean. Whew, I'm nervous. Okay, let's see. Ooh, Okay, 652. It's my seventh shade in my Nude Light palette from Huda Beauty. That is also one of my newer palettes. I have no idea which shade is that. I think it's a shimmer. Oh, I don't know if I want to hit pan on it or only use it 10 times. I don't know, we'll see. And the other number that we have was 171. Let's see that number. And that is from my Aha Honey palette, the shade Sweet Spot. I think that is a matte. I think. I don't know. I'm really nervous. Okay, I'm going to look for those palettes and I'll be right back to check our new shades together. Okay, I have the palettes here, so we're going to look together. The first shade that we randomly select was number 7 from my Nude Light palette. So let's see together. We have 6. Ooh, is this color over here? Okay, I'm excited. It's a pretty color. Where I'm going to swatch it, okay. Over here. Ooh, it's pretty. It's kind of a rose gold, I could call it. I don't know. This palette is even newer than this one over here. This one I received at the end of last year. So I don't know if I want to hit pan on it or only use it the 10 times. I don't know. I think we could try to hit pan on it, but I think what we're going to do is I'm going to work on it in March, and then in the next update I'll let you know if I only want to use it 10 times or if I want to hit pan on it. That will depend on how I feel with this palette, if I feel ready to hit pan on something and how that shade is moving. Maybe if after the first update we have a lot of progress, I'm going to feel motivated to hit pan on it, but we're not going to decide yet. Just as we did with this shade, we're going to decide next update. But if you ask me now, I think I want to hit pan on that shade. I don't know. And I think the Huda Beauty shades are not too deep, so maybe we're going to be able to do that. And the next shade that we roll in comes from my Aha Honey palette in the shade Sweet Spot. But I have some of the shades of this palette in this magnetic palette and I don't know where that shade is, so we're going to check together, but I brought the two palettes just in case. So Sweet Spot should be over here. So let's see together. Yeah, it's it's this shade over here. Oh my god, it's a really bright yellow. But I'm happy that I rolled this shade now that we're still in summer, because use this shade in winter will be hard. Okay, it's not too pigmented. Let me give it another layer. Okay, no, and definitely we're not going to be able to hit pan on it after the 25 uses. In this one, we're going to work in the 25 uses because it's not a newer palette, but I remember that shade. Last year, I worked in this palette, and I remember that that shade in particular was really, really hard pressed. So no way we're going to be able to hit pan on it. But hopefully, it's only going to take us a couple of months. Hopefully 2 months, because after that we're going to be in autumn here and I won't feel inspired. Oh, I'm really nervous, I'm not going to lie. So yeah, if we remove these two shades over here, this is our new color story. I'm going to leave a picture. That's going to be easier. But yeah, that's everything that I have for you today. I'm really excited. If you have any ideas of how to use these colors in one look, or like how to combine them, please let me know. I will really appreciate that. But yeah, that's everything for today. I hope you enjoyed this video. If you like it, please consider subscribing. I will love that. And I hope I'll see you in the next one. Bye.